Warlord, Giles and Eric. Man, welcome to RockEyez.
Great to be here. Thank you for
Good to
having
meet
us.
you. Thank you.
No problem. Tell me a little bit about the Lost Archangels, which comes out June 27th. There you go. Cool.
Singular, Lost
And
Archangel.
and
Yep.
vinyl,
This is vinyl. We have CD. There's actually three different types of vinyl. This is the ripple effect.
Uh-huh.
There is a black one and a silver one, and Eric doesn't have any because they're all here with me. But he'll get them
Ah,
Exactly.
he'll get them in a few days.
now you guys are on High Roller Records?
Yes,
Yeah.
and the tour is about to start. Germany, Italy, short tour. Germany, Italy,
Right.
Belgium, Holland.
Belgium and Holland. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's gonna be fun.
yeah.
So Giles, let's go to your past bands first and give me a little bit of history on you between Alcatrazz, Dragonsclaw, Jack Starr, all that stuff. Give me a little bit of
Oh boy.
background.
Well, yeah, I mean it would probably take the whole interview just to do that. But yeah, I mean they're sort of all linked in a way. My band which I formed with a guitarist in Australia called Ben Thomas, Dragonsclaw, we did a couple of records at the beginning of the previous decade, 2010, 11, 12, around that period,
Right.
13.
Mhm.
Bill Tsamis, Warlord, actually heard some of that music.
Mhm.
Bill being the founding and original guitar player of Warlord, co-founding.
Right.
And that's when he invited me to sing for the band for the Holy Empire tour
Right.
in 2013. Alcatrazz is obviously a whole different story. But yeah, we're working on a new record now.
Right.
Some other studio stuff. We toured pretty heavily last year. That was my first year as lead vocalist for the band. However, I've been involved with Alcatrazz in a production, management, all kinds of other, facets, for many years now. And Jimmy Waldo, the keyboard player and founding member of Alcatrazz, is the keyboard player in Warlord. So it's all a bit,
Right. Yeah.
there's definitely a link there, which is perhaps a little wee bit confusing for some people, but also it kind of, I think it quite nicely kind of ties all these things together in a kind of cohesive kind of way.
Cool. Do you ever take a break?
No, no, I don't, because
Uh-huh.
I run a record company. I manage, Girls' School, Raven, Onslaught, obviously Warlord's Affairs as well, and Alcatraz, and I'm always busy. But that's, I'll sleep when I'm dead. There'll be plenty
Yeah.
of time to. Hopefully, there'll be a period in my life where I can sit back and go, "Wow, I did some really cool stuff." So,
So, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
never ends, right?
Yeah. Me myself, I just retired last year, so I get to stay home all the time. You know.
that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not seeking retirement at this point, but I do. In hopefully, there's a few more years of doing what I'm doing, and it'd be nice to actually get to a point in my life where I can sit back and reflect on it all, and perhaps enjoy it for what it was a little bit more than the. While I do, and I'm sure I can speak for Eric, we do enjoy the moment, being in the moment, but there's also a hell of a lot of work, effort, struggle, and the cliche blood, sweat, and tears put into,
Yep.
getting things to where they need to be, that sometimes the destination is equally as fulfilling and rewarding as the journey in some ways, because you go, wow, phew,
Right.
did it, we made it, we got through that.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Cool. So you basically have hands-on on everything you do.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Good. That's good. That's good then. So Eric, tell me a little bit about Crystal Viper and your relationship with David Reece, who is a friend of mine.
Right. So I joined Crystal Viper back in 2017, I think, like a couple of years after moving to Europe, and played there for 6 years, give or take.
Uh-huh.
Recorded 4 albums with them, toured pretty much everywhere. Um, so yeah, it's a great band, great guys. I mean, I enjoyed every second of it. Um, Eventually Giles contacted me to join Warlord, and I arrived at a crossroads, kind of.
Mhm.
kind of thing. So I made a decision to leave Crystal Viper back in January 2024.
Right.
And yeah, but I mean, it was a great run. Again, almost 6 years, or a little bit over 6 years, I think. And great guys. We left things very amicably. I mean, with the Zero Bad Blood, I'm still very good friends with Bard, with the guys from in the band and everything. So yeah. About David, we had a mutual acquaintance, and this guy gave David my number because he was supposed to play a show with David and he couldn't, so he was looking for a replacement guitar player. So David called me and we played. We ended up playing in Hamburg, a festival, and that's funny because that show ended up being the live CD on Bangalore Choir's Center Mass. So I played the show with David. We became really good friends, really, really fast, actually, and we stayed in contact. He offered me to to join his band, to start playing with him. I did play a couple of other shows with him, and then I don't know exactly what happened, but it fell apart.
Right.
He told me that I don't remember exactly what he told me, but the point is I was not going to play with him anymore. But
Right.
he was really cool with it, and he told me like, dude, it's I'm sorry, I didn't want this, but if I hear anything,
Mhm.
I'll let you know, right?
Good.
So fast forward a couple of months, and he put me in contact with Giles, and that's how the link here ended up happening. And Giles asked me to join Warlord, and the rest is history.
Cool, cool. Now let's get to the album. The songs on the album. How yeah, there it is. There it is. Make sure to pick it up.
Oh, you're on a
Yeah.
vinyl spell, dude. Hold on.
Oh, you got some there, do you?
Yeah.
How did you get it?
There you go.
Oh,
Not the new ones, but you guys want the older ones.
okay.
Oh,
There
you
you
got
go.
a different one.
We've been busy the last 12 months.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Three
I'm doing a
releases
lot of
in
stuff.
12 months. You'd think it was the 70s, wouldn't you? Or the 80s,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
bands were. I remember like Slayer, they did like Show No Mercy,
Uh-huh.
Live Undead EP,
Mhm.
and Hell Awaits, all in like a 12, 18-month period. No
Right,
one,
yeah.
so we've been staying busy. I mean, yeah, let's talk about this because there's quite
Yeah.
a story to the content on this that
Yeah. I want to talk
it,
about it. Yeah, definitely,
it,
definitely.
it may at first glance, and no one's actually said this, but in my own self-analysis, it may at first glance look like a wee bit of a sort of scattergun kind of release where there's a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of something else, but there is actually a method to the madness. If you look on the back here, and I don't know
Right.
if you can see this, but
I can see it.
Golgotha,
Uh-huh.
the Place of the Skull, the Rainbow,
Uh-huh.
Lost,
Yep.
Archangel, and Stygian Passage were all free downloadable singles we put out last summer to commemorate each festival appearance. So
Right.
we played Truheim Festival, and I think that was Golgotha. They had, you download it from their Facebook page or their website, or link to us, and you download it. We just gave them away as downloads. They're basically four bonus tracks that weren't
Right.
on the Free Spirit Soar album.
Mhm.
Um, and we just thought, let's just give them away for free to celebrate each festival appearance of Warlord's return.
Right.
But inevitably, people would say, "Oh, where can we get that physically?" And we didn't even have necessarily like a plan to even put them out physically until people said, "Well, the download's cool and all, but can we do an
Yeah.
EP?
Right.
Is there going to be an EP?" And we thought, well, EPs don't really sell anymore,
Right. Uh-huh.
um, in the traditional sense, at least. So we spoke to the label, and they said, "Well, could you add some stuff to it?"
Hmm.
And okay, here we go again.
Yeah.
So we put out Eric's got Ashes to Archives right there on vinyl, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, he's got. Hold it up, hold it up. Would you model that for us, please, Eric? There you go.
Oh yeah, of course.
Now, the release of that album
Uh-huh.
was essentially a,
Cool.
a representation of the Rising Out of the Ashes album, all Bill's guitar tracks and the current band,
Right.
doing a lot of those songs because in the way that Bill wanted them as per the Lordian Guard versions, if you know Warlord
Right.
history.
Uh-huh.
And then we started getting all these messages. Oh, you left one song off. You didn't do Enemy Mind.
Uh-huh.
It was like, okay, we didn't know you wanted Enemy Mind, but nevertheless, here it is now.
Right,
Enemy
yeah.
Mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
In addition, we like to revisit some of the past occasionally. It's almost a Warlord tradition to do a new version of an old song. 70,000 Sorrows and Night of the Fury. With Bill's guitars is part of that, with me on vocals and the rest of the band.
Right, yeah.
Twin was the CD only bonus track of Free Spirit Soar. People were saying, "Oh, why wasn't that on the vinyl? Can we get that on vinyl? Would you put out a 7-inch with that song?" Okay, so this is basically answering a lot of requests. Now, in our archives, we found Father Glory and Soliloquy, which were not on the Live in Athens 2013 live album. They were left off due to time limitations.
Uh-huh.
We, while going through the archives and looking for a lot of this stuff, we go, oh, well, there's the 3 songs we never put on
Hmm.
on that live album. So let's include them here. We'd also had a number of requests for live songs from last year's tour. Well, why don't you put out something live? We felt it was probably a wee bit both unnecessarily overkill and a little soon to do yet another live album. There's already a Live in Athens, which has,
Right.
Bill
Hmm.
on guitar. I mean, that sort of stands as the definitive Warlord live album for now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because essentially we're playing a similar set list. But nevertheless, here's three songs from last year's touring.
Hmm. Right.
So it's basically just a response to the various communication we'd received from the fans. Why don't you do
Right.
this? Why don't you give us that? What about this? What about that? Well, this is a summary of that, and this is okay, you want it? Here it is.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that's kind of the story.
Yeah.
Wow. Was it kind of difficult getting what do you got? 13 tracks on that album?
Well, the CD's got 13. The vinyl has 14 because it has Twin.
Right, yeah.
It's the vinyl
I mean,
release of Twin.
they're
Yeah.
getting a good bang for their buck, the fans.
Yeah, I mean, we're not making a buck, but we
Yeah.
don't need, when we're not trying to either. This was for the fans, this one. So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Cool, cool. And then you had like the song "The Rainbow," which is an early demo. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, that
Right.
was, again,
uh-huh.
fans had been requesting the Rainbow to be recorded, properly.
Right,
Going back 20 years, I remember because I was very close with Bill. I stayed at his house in Florida on frequent occasions. Me and him were very good friends. And he would always just say, "Look, man, I'm sick of people asking me to re-record the Rainbow." He
right,
goes, "It's cool, but I'd sort of moved on from that song." Nevertheless, people did want that demo to be revisited.
right,
They hoped it would be on the Holy Empire. Instead, Bill chose to revisit some other demos like City Walls of Troy and things like that, and Thy Kingdom Come. But the Rainbow was always that outpost, so we thought, well, it's do or die. We either do it now or it'll never happen. So we did do it, and we're not, there's not an endless vault to mine. We are kind of there's a couple more things we can put out from
huh?
the archives, but we are kind of getting to the end of the stuff from the past that we can work from. So, it's not going to be an endless scraping of the barrel. Not that this
Right,
stuff is at all, inferior in any way, shape, or form, but we are kind of using these releases to wrap up the archives, a cleaning out of the vault, so to speak.
right. Cool, cool. And that's basically what a lot of fans want, you know.
They do. They do. They do. They want to hear everything now. You got Jethro Tull putting out 5 disc box sets with
Yeah,
every noise they ever made in the studio that was committed to tape 40 years ago, and I'm eagerly buying them and putting them on my shelf now, so I can totally relate to that.
cool, cool. And what other merchandise you have available for fans?
For those interested, we have at the show we have t-shirts.
Mhm.
We carry the full range of LPs and CDs and picture discs,
Mhm.
patches. We do only have this stuff at the show. If you live in America, our Vision merch are carrying a number of t-shirt designs. Some of them are exclusive only to Vision merch. So that's something else. We do put links to that on our Warlord Facebook page.
Right. Yeah.
But basically, it's at the shows. Our merchandise is sold at the shows. We like to sign everything. So anything you see on the table, vinyl or CD, will be signed by the whole band. So you don't have to that's just part of the price of the record. We don't charge any kind of premium or extra for that. It's just we sign it because we figure, that could be nice to pick up a signed copy instead of a non-signed copy. We
Oh,
do have some unsigned ones. If some people says I don't want it unshrink wrapped, then we still have them in the plastic. So
and
yeah.
what's your feeling on meet and greets at shows?
Um,
I mean, it's
we're always go ahead, Eric.
yeah. I mean, it's we're there anyways. We don't really have like a separation between the fans and us. We play the show and we usually just go off stage into the crowd if it's like a smaller venue. So we're there anyways. I mean, as far as I know, we haven't really done any meet and greets,
Right.
but we didn't really need to because we're there with the fans, in the crowd most of the time. And if it's like a big festival, where the festival itself has like the separation and the fences and everything, then I'm guessing. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I don't know about you, but we're still
Yeah,
in
I mean,
contact with fans,
no one's hiding from anyone. We're always happy
Oh,
to
no,
come
no,
out to the
no.
table afterwards, and
Yeah,
Mark will sign. Mark Zonder, the drummer.
so,
He's the kind of guy that if someone comes up with 200 Fates Morning albums and wants them signed, he'll do it. It's
Right.
not,
Yeah.
yeah.
we don't hide from the fans. I guess if you were talking about paid meet and
Yeah.
greets,
Yeah. Paid meet and greets.
we don't. I mean, we don't do that. We feel it would be a wee bit pompous to go into a club and sort of make that kind of distinction and separation
Yeah.
between,
Right.
no, we just come out and meet people.
Cool.
I'm not saying we'd never do something like that if someone presented some package, but it would need to be value for money. I always like the ones where, okay, it's a certain amount of money.
Right.
You get like a t-shirt and a vinyl and a exclusive
Hmm.
laminate or etc. So there is actually an inherent, value that you walk
Right.
away with stuff that represents the value of what you paid rather than just, €100 for a handshake seems a little
Hmm.
Yeah. No.
disingenuous. And I don't think we would ever do something like that. But
Cool.
yeah, we're happy to meet people. We're not hiding from we're lucky
Definitely.
we're lucky they're coming to the shows. We're not gonna dollar them to death.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Eric, tell me about your endorsement with Ernie Ball.
Well, Philip Bynoe, bass player. He has the endorsement, and he and I and Diego as well. We were talking, and we just asked him, like, dude, can you put us in contact with Ernie? Well, just because Diego and I, we pretty much came out of nowhere, so we don't have the necessary contacts yet.
Mhm.
But so yeah, I mean, Philip put us in contact with Tim from Ernie Ball, and we started talking, and that's it. I mean, it went totally. I'm thinking German right now. Flawlessly, you could say that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that happened, and it's great. I mean, amazing strings, man. They don't break. So
Good.
it's great.
Good. 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 Was there any songs that you planned on or on this album that really didn't make the cut?
Well, no. I mean
Oh,
this is a compilation album.
Right.
So, it kind of was as long as it needed to be. It's already a double record and a very lengthy CD. Um again, this is almost the final word as far as what was left in the
Right.
vault. Um like I said, there is a live show from some 12 years ago from
Mhm.
Germany that we do have in our archives that we may do something with in the future. I won't mention all the details on that yet. That's up to the label. But other than that, this is kind of it as far as what was quality and left. We don't want to start putting out subpar stuff.
Yeah.
This is this is cleaning out the vault in a way where it's only quality coming out of the vault. It's not start getting into like, okay, here's the scratch guitar track version 17 of,
Yeah,
like a lot of bands do, but we wanted to keep the archives need to sort of be held in the same, you know, to the same quality standard as, a normal record.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, cool. Tell me about the upcoming tour with Judas Priest.
Yeah, that's
Well,
gonna be fun.
it's not a tour, it's one show in Italy.
Okay.
Boy, I wish it was a tour.
Yeah.
Which so
Yeah.
we're starting in Germany
Uh-huh.
on the 29th. We have one day in Gladbeck. Um, that's a very cool venue. We play there already. Then we head straight to Italy, actually, to the show with Judas Priest. And again, sadly, only one show. And then we'll be heading to Belgium, Holland, and Germany again.
Mhm.
We have 3 days there, and that's pretty much it. As Giles said, is a short run, but it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah,
Any plans
absolutely.
on coming to the United States?
Yeah, I mean, we were a bit frustrating. We were meant to be appearing at Hell's Heroes earlier this year. Um, the visas were just we missed by about a week. It's a bit of a long convolvulated story, and the visa process for a band that has European members to tour the States is and has always been. It's nothing to do with the current administration, good, bad, or otherwise. I've been doing this for many, many years. American visas for European musicians have always been a pain. And our trip to the American consulate has always been a very pleasant, friendly, professional experience. It's just sometimes, you know, your visas are due back within 10 days. Sometimes it can just, for some unknown reason, it can just take a little bit longer to get them back. Scheduling appointments is generally fairly painless, but let's just say the stars didn't align on this one and we missed by because we were going to Japan first and we had our passports
Mhm.
tied up with the Japan visas, we weren't able to, exactly and strategically go, okay, we need to be at the American consulate on this day. Well, we were in Tokyo. So it was a little bit of just one of those things where we had too many plates spinning at once, and the visa thing kind of bit us.
Yeah,
And there was really no way around that because we were very prepared, very well in advance. But just you get told when your appointment is, you get told, you have to relinquish your passport, so you're without your passport. Well, we had
Right.
to go to Japan, so we were trying to squeeze this in. The window got smaller and smaller, and eventually closed on us.
yeah,
But we do. I don't know what I can say at this point and what I can't say, but we are hoping to be in the States next year.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Giles, you have anything else coming up you'd like to talk about?
Me? Yes.
Mhm.
This band. We're currently recording the next record, and we're touring at the end of the year quite extensively in Europe. Um, Go to the Alcatrazz Facebook page, Alcatrazz official or Alcatrazz, whatever it's called, Alcatrazz official, I think, and you will be kept up to date with everything.
Eric, you have anything you'd like to talk
And
about?
Eric's going to be there because David Reece is supporting.
I'm gonna be there. Yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be playing with Bangalore Choir, supporting Alcatrazz on that
Uh,
tour.
Bangalore
So that's
Choir,
really
yeah.
good choir, you
Yeah.
know, pretty much gonna be the Warlord gang, kind of taking over that tour, playing in separate bands. But yeah, so that's gonna be a cool tour. And no, other than that, nothing else. Other than really looking forward to this tour that's coming up.
cool, cool.
Yeah.
How's it working with High Roller?
Great.
Uh,
Great.
Actually, you know what? I really want to do make a mention because as an artist manager, I have a band on at least one band on each of the main big metal labels, and they're all good and bad in their own ways.
right, yeah.
And I mean bad with maybe a small lowercase b. I mean, every relationship has a pro and a con.
Right.
But High Roller, I've got to say, are exceptional.
Uh-huh.
I also feel that way about Silver Lining Music as well. They're very, very, very good label. But High Roller are it's like a perfect relationship.
Mhm.
He is, Stefan is just nothing is too much. You need some tour stock. He'll send 14 cartons of it. It's just like, whoa, dude, cool,
Yeah.
Um, he's awesome, and they're a great, great label. And I think they're the perfect label for Warlord because Warlord it has a very specific kind of niche.
Mhm.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it is
Right.
it is heavy metal obviously has positioning is very important, and being able to communicate with with where you sit in that on that spectrum is important, and High Roller know the market very, very well for Warlord. They're the perfect label for this band.
Great, great, great. Well, Giles and Eric, it was great talking to you, and congratulations on the album.
Thank you.
Everybody supported, and June 27th, the release. Go to their website, pick up merch and everything else. Would you like to say anything to the fans?
We hope to see you at the shows, and we do sincerely hope we can visit more of you as we're putting tour dates together. And it's not always easy to get to every country and every city. We know there's fans all around the world and even the most remote places because we hear from them. But we're doing our best to bring this band to, anyone who wants to see us.
Yeah,
We'll see you there.
Eric,
Come say hello at the show.
definitely.
Eric, you like to say anything?
Uh, Pretty much the same as Giles. Don't ever think that as a fan you're being ignored. We are getting your messages. We know where you are, and we're doing our best to get to you. So maybe not this year, maybe next year, but we'll see.
Cool, cool. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later, man.
Take care. All
Bye
right.
bye.
Yeah, take care.